Hello students, welcome to the second lecture of interrupts programming. We were covering the interrupts programming topic of third unit, and we have covered almost half of the uh, unit, half of the topic. So let us restart again. What are interrupts? I have already told in last video lecture. Let us revise again. Interrupt a signal which is either internal or external. It can be internal, it can be external. Externally or internally, it stops the current processing of microcontroller, and then start and a particular program is executed whenever an interrupt occurs. Fine. And that program is known as interrupt service routine. Fine. So we have studied all these things, and we have studied the advantages of interrupts over the polling. Then we have studied about the ISRs, the interrupt service routines. We have studied what are the different interrupts which are supported by 8051 microcontroller. Those are reset, two interrupts for timer 0 and timer 1, two interrupt which are external, that is the names are interrupt 0 and interrupt 1, and an interrupt for serial communication. Fine. So we have covered all these things. Then we have covered an interrupt vector table. This table defines that which interrupt service routine is to be executed when an interrupt occurs. For example, if this interrupt occurs when the timer 0, the timer flag is raised when the timer 0 has completed its counting, then the interrupt service routine will be executed at this place. Fine. And what is this? This is the address of the interrupt service routine which is placed in the ROM. Fine. We have completed all these things, and this is how the instructions are written in a ROM. Fine. So every ROM in 8051 has to be written something like this. The first line should be org0, that defines that the ROM has started from the address 0000. Fine. And then the next line should be long jump main. I have already told why we write long jump main as the second line, because we have to leave some space. We have to leave some space for what? We have to leave some space for this table, for this interrupt service routine. Fine. So for all interrupts there would be some interrupt service routine which are placed from where, they are placed from address 000 to 0023. That means they are placed somewhere here from 000 to 0023. So we can start our main program after 0023 only. Therefore we have written long jump main. What does long jump main means? Long jump main means that whenever you start your 8051, then when it starts executing the program, it will execute first line, then it will execute second line. Then instead of executing the other lines which are nothing but the interrupt service routine, they should not be executed. They can be executed only when the interrupt occurs. So instead of executing these lines, it will jump to main program. What is that main program? Main program, it is just named as main. It is just named as main. You can write any name. Fine. So what is that main program? Main program is the program which is loaded or which is embedded into 8051. Fine. So that should be executed. And we have studied all these things, and we have also studied the interrupt enable register. We have 6 interrupts, so we have 6 registers, 6 bits of this interrupt enable register. And what are these? These are used to enable and disable the interrupt. Each bit can have a value of 1 or 0. 1 means enable that particular interrupt, 0 means disable that particular interrupt, and this register would be enabled. This register or this entire byte can be checked only when this bit is 1. If this bit is 0, that means all interrupts are disabled. Fine. So we have studied this, and then we have taken one example also, that how to enable and disable the interrupt. And then now we have to start our today's lecture from here. Since we have 6 interrupts, so we'll start one by one. We'll start all the interrupts one by one. So let us start from the timer interrupt. For timer we have two interrupts, TF0 and TF1. Fine. So we have also studied these flags when we were covering the timer for 8051. Fine. So what are these? These are nothing but the bits of a resistor. Which resistor? TCON resistor. If you remember, we have studied TCON resistor. If you do not remember, we will cover this TCON resistor once again here itself in today's lecture. So what are this TF0? These are bits of a resistor. So whenever your timer 0, it starts counting and it stops the counting. Whenever it stops the counting, it generates a interrupt. It generates a kind of interrupt. And what is that interrupt? It raises the value of TF0 to 1, or timer 1 will raise the value of TF1 to 1. That means the counting has been completed. So this is kind of an interrupt. Fine. For example, you have started your timer, you have given some value to the timer 0 and it has started counting. Fine. Meanwhile you are executing your program. Now at any step during the program, the counting of the timer may got completed. Whenever the counting of the timer is completed, you have set a flag, that is TF0. It became 1. It became 1 means that that means an interrupt has to be generated, because the 8051 is currently executing a program, so it has to be stopped then and there. So it stops and it serves the timer during that time. Fine. If you have enabled, and that is only done when you have enabled this timer flag or timer interrupt. Fine. So you have two types of timer interrupt, for timer 0 and timer 1, which are checked by the timer flag. Fine. And this is also explained with the help of this diagram, that whenever the value of the timer flag became 1, that means it's a timer interrupt, and the place of interrupt service routine can be checked from the interrupt vector table. In the interrupt vector table, for the timer 0 flag, the position for interrupt service routine is this. This is what the address of the ROM where the interrupt service routine ISR of timer of interrupt 0 of timer 0 is written. Fine. So this would be executed. And for if timer flag 1 is generated, this type of interrupt is generated, then whatever program is written at this address would be executed. Fine. So this is the timer kind of interrupt. Okay. So we will do an example, because we have already covered the timer, so need not to cover the what is timer and how it is loaded. We'll directly cover example. So let us see what this example is saying. It is saying that we need to write a program which continuously gets a 8-bit data from the port 0 and sends it to port 1. So one thing is very clear, you have 8051, you have port 0 and port 1. So what you have to do, you have to take that 8-bit data from port 0 and move directly to port P1. This is very easy. Now let us read. While simultaneously, so this is what I have already told you in the beginning of my last video lecture of interrupts, that for an 8051, if you are executing a program and if you simultaneously wanted to do something else, then you have to use interrupt. Fine. You have to use interrupt. So this is a good example where you are moving a 8-bit data from port 0 to port 1, while simultaneously you have to create a square wave of this much time period. We need not to take care of time period, because it won't be given to you in your exams, because I have not taught you that how to program for a particular time period. So I will not ask this type of question, but you should remember that for creating a square wave of this much time period on this particular pin, I think we have done this kind of question n number of times, so I'll explain it again. We have port 2, we have port 0, we have port 1. So what it is asking, move 8-bit data continuously to port P1 from P0 to P1, and from port 2, the first bit of port 2, you generate a square wave. Fine. So this is what we have to do. Fine. How to do that? Let's see. And they have also told that for this purpose we have to use timer 0. How to use timer 0? Actually, if we are creating a square wave, from a particular pin. That means we have to make a make value 1 for some time and make value 0 for some time. And how to calculate that time, or how to do that for a particular time, for that purpose we have to use timer. Fine. So they have already told us that we have to use timer 0. Fine. So how to do that, let's see. First we'll see the program is written inside the ROM. So it is it may be you might write it from the first line, or you may not write from the first line. You can directly write your main program also, but they have written from the first line in the ROM. And I have already told you that what would be the first line in the ROM. It would be OR 0000. That means the ROM is started from 0000. Fine. And then the first line would be org 0000. That means the ROM the ROM will start from the address 0000h, and then 00001, something like this. Fine. So it will start something like this, and the second line will definitely be long jump main. Fine. The second line would be long jump main. That means instead of executing these lines, I am explaining this again and again. That means instead of executing these lines, what are these lines? These lines are reserved for interrupt service routine of interrupts. Fine. So you need not to execute this. You want to execute your main program. So what it is saying, what this line is saying, this line is saying that please jump to your main program instead of executing these lines. Fine. Because 8051 doesn't know that from where to execute. It will start executing from the first line. So the second line of the ROM says that please jump to the main program. So where's the main program? Let's see. This is our main program. Fine. You will also write your answers like this only. First you write the interrupt, because in the ROM first there will be interrupt service routine, and then there will be main program. So what the main program says, main program is written, you can write it any place after 0023h. You can write it any place. Let's say you can start writing from this place also, but they have started writing from 0030, this place. This is definitely higher than 0023. Fine. You need to take care of this. Fine. And what is the first thing which has been done? See how to we don't know this much. We don't know this, what we need to write, how to write a program, how to write a program, how to proceed. We have given that you need to move data from P0 to P1. So what we'll do, we will write move and take the data into the accumulator, because we have 8-bit data, accumulator is also 8-bit. Then we will move the 8-bit data which is into the accumulator to P1. So one of the work is done, that the data has been moved from P0 to P1. Fine. These two lines are fixed. But before this, since P0 is by default an output type port, we have to make it as input port. Do you remember in the input output programming video lecture, I have already told that to make a port as input port, we have to move first we have to move the value 11, that is ff means 11111. Fine. 11 to port P0, which will make that as input port. So this is one of the line. What I'm explaining that how to write a program. These are the examples. Instead of just seeing the examples, what is the way to write the example? So one line would be this. Then what would be the second line? The second thing is that you use the timer 0 for interrupt. We are using interrupt. So what we'll do, instead of writing the program for generating the clock, generating the delay using timer, we will write this program in the interrupt service routine of timer. Fine. So whenever the timer flag would be raised, it will keep on counting, and whenever the timer flag will be raised, what needs to be done? Whenever the timer flag is raised, a square wave has to be generated from the pin P2.1. That means you have to either set the bit P2.1 or clear the bit P2.1. So instead of writing these two lines, what you can write, you can simply write complement. You can simply write complement p2.1. What will it mean? It means whenever it's 0 it will become 1, if it is 1 it will become 0, so that will make a square wave. So you should know all these things before writing a program. Fine. And then, and since you are using timer 0, so you have to move the mode register data, that in which mode the timer should start. We can either use mode 1 or we can use mode 2. Fine. If it is 8-bit counting, then we can use mode 2 also, and if it is more than 8-bit, we can use mode 1. Apart from this, if we want continuous something like this, a square wave generation is a continuous counting, so we have to use mode 2 here, and accordingly you move the value to t mode register. Fine. And you just, how to start the timer, just move the value just make the value, set the bit, which bit, tr0 bit. What it will do, it will make tr0 bit as 1 and it will start the timer 0. So these lines you have to write in your program. So how to write a program? First, like what I have done, write all the lines in the program which you have to make, and then arrange those lines. Fine. So these lines are arranged something like this. We will move to main program. This is our main program. In the main program, it is written from the line 0030. Then what I have told, that first we have to configure the timer. So how to configure the timer? We have to operate the timer in which mode? In mode 2. Fine. So how to configure it in mode 2? Mode 2 means we timer 1 has to be disabled. So first 4 bits will be 0000. Then last 4 bits, the last 4 bits means will be this is reserved for mode. So 00 means mode 0, 01 means mode 1, and 10 means mode 2. So we have make it mode 2 by writing 0 and then 2. 0 to H means mode 2. So we have written 02 inside the T mode register. Fine. And then we have written value FF to port P0. Why do we do this? To make port 0 as input, because we have to take value into the port P0. And then we have loaded the value 92, minus 92. What is this minus 92? Since we are generating a delay, of 200 microsecond. I have not taught you how to make this 200 microsecond, so you leave this here. You need not to take attention about this, that why minus 92 has been written. You can take any value. Fine. So some value is loaded into TH0 register. What is TH0 register? This is the register of timer 0. Fine. So timer 0 register has two portions, TL0 and TH0. In the mode 2, remember, in the mode 2, whatever is written in the TH0, the copy of same is moved to TL0, and then TL0 will start counting from there. For example, if it is written 92, it will start counting minus 91, minus 90, minus 89 till how much? Till FF is achieved. Fine. Once FF is achieved, a interrupt will be generated. How interrupt will be generated? TF0 flag would become 1, and interrupt would be generated, and then the value in the TH0 will again move to TL0, and this is how it will keep on continuing. Fine. So what we have written, we will come back to our example again. What we have written? We have written a value to TH0 because it is in mode 2. If it is in mode 1, then we have to write values to both TL0 and TH0. Fine. And then we have to enable the interrupt. And enable which interrupt? We have to enable the interrupt. The first bit should be 1. Why? Because first bit says that the interrupts can be enabled or disabled. If this bit is 0, that means all interrupts are disabled. So first bit should be 1. Then the specific bit which corresponds to the timer 0 would be enabled, and that is bit number 1. Fine. So that is written as 1. That means the interrupt of timer 0 is enabled. Then we can write, then we can start the counting. How to start the counting? Just write set bit tr0. What will happen? It will start the timer. Timer will start counting. Then what we'll do? We move the value which is in the P0 to A. Fine, because we wanted to move the data from port 0 to port 1. So whatever in the port 0, move to A, then move to P1. Fine. So what you have done, you have moved the value from P0 to A, and then A to P1. So indirectly you are moving the data from P0 to P1, and then you do a jump to back. Why you are doing this? Because continuously you are moving data from P0 to P1 and then moving to the same line, then continuously you are moving data from P0 to P1. Meanwhile, what timer is doing, timer has already been started by this line set B. So timer keeps on counting from -92. It keeps on counting until FF is achieved. Once FF is achieved, what will happen? Since you are using timer 0, so TF0 will become 1. Fine. Once TF0 will become 1, then it means a interrupt has been generated. What kind of interrupt has been generated? Interrupt for timer 0 has been generated. So what will happen? Whatever you are writing, whatever it is executing here, whichever line it is executing here, let us say the address of this line is 00B0. So it was executing this line. Fine. Now an interrupt has been generated. Counting by the timer has been completed. So an interrupt has been generated. So this address will move to where? Stack. This address will move to stack. So how it will move to stack? First the lower bit will go P0, and then higher bit will go 00, because the length is only 8 bit. The length of stack is 8 bit. Please remember this. So it will move on to the stack, and then what will happen? The address of interrupt service routine will be loaded into the program counter. What is the address of interrupt service routine for timer 0? That can be seen from the interrupt vector table. For timer 0, what is it? It is 000B. Fine. So let's see what is written at 00B. In this example, we have already written something at 00B. See what this line says. This line says this is the address 00B inside the room. Fine. ORG00B, that means this is the address 00B. So whenever an interrupt from the timer 0 will occur, it will start, the program counter will be loaded with the address 000B. Now 8051 will understand that it has to execute from 00B. Now it is executing 00B. What is at 00B? It is saying that please complement. CPL means complement. Complement P2.1. P2.1 means port 2 first bit. It will be complemented. If it was 0, it will become 1. Fine. So it will become 1, and it will remain 1. It will remain 1 for some time, and then it will remain 1 for some time, and then you have written the last line as RETI, that is return from interrupt. The last line of interrupt service routine is always RETI, that means return from the interrupt. So it will return from the interrupt. It will return to main program. Fine. How do it know that where to go now from? It will check the interrupt vector table. What was written in the interrupt vector table? It was written 0B00. So it will go back to that particular address. I have taken that address here. It will start again execution from this line. Fine. So it will keep on executing this line. Meanwhile, the timer is still on. The timer is still on because it is mode 2. In mode 2, whenever your timer has done the counting, whatever is in the TH0 flag, where TH0 register, it will be loaded into TL0, and the value in the TL0 will again be counted. Fine. So this keeps on doing, and a square wave is being generated from the pin P2.1. Fine. So this is that program is doing. I think you should review this program once again, so that it would be very clear to you, because it seems to be a small program, but you can either remember this also, but you should understand what this program is doing. Fine. And it's not that difficult to understand. Just read those lines, that what it is doing, and maintain the flow of the program, then it will be very easy to understand. Fine. This is one more program. I think we will not do this program, will not cover this program, so I request you also to not to cover this program. This is a lengthy program, and that is not intended for you to understand the interrupt. Fine. This program is okay, we will cover this program. What this program is doing, let's see. Write a program to generate a square wave of 50 Hz from pin P1.2, and this is done using the interrupt from timer 0. So what you have to do, you have to generate the delay from the timer 0 using the interrupt, and you have to generate the again the same thing, you have to generate the square wave from the port pin 1 of port 1, pin 2 of port 1. Fine. So what you have to do, you have to write that CPL P1.2. This is an important line. What does it mean? It means whatever is the value at the at this bit, it will become 1 or 0. So a square wave will be generated. But this is not just one line. What you have to write, you have to make timer 0. You have to make timer 0. You have to make timer 0 as interrupt. Fine. So you have to load some value to the timer 0 register. It will keep on counting. Fine. It will keep on counting. And how to know what value need to be loaded. For this course, for this syllabus, we will take any value, but in real example we have to take the value as per this frequency. Fine. But we will not go deep into that, so we'll take any value. Let's see how it is done. Please do not read from ISR. This is what? This is ISR. This is first line of the ROM, and this is ISR. Please do not read it. Start reading from the main program. Fine. So first we read the main program. In the main program, what it is done, you have used the timer 0 and you have used the mode 1. Then you move the value into TL0 and TH0, because you are using the mode 1. In mode 1 you have to load both TL0 as well as TH. Fine. And then you enable the particular interrupt. What interrupt need to be enabled? Interrupt of timer 0. Fine. You have enabled the interrupt. Once you know how to write these values, it is just moving the values to them. Fine. It's so easy. It's just writing the move. That's it. But you should know why we are moving 82 to this, why we are moving this to this. Fine. So then we start the timer, set TR0. What does it mean? It starts the timer, and then we have written one line as jump here. So what it will do, it will keep on jumping here. So your 8051 will do nothing, because in the last program what we were doing, we were moving the value from one port to other. Meanwhile the timer has started counting. Fine. So 8051 was doing two things, but in this program it was not said that two things has to be done. So 8051 was doing nothing. It is just using the timer to do the counting. Fine. So you have started the counting and you remain here until whatever count you have given to the timer, the final value has been achieved. For example, it starts counting from 0 DC. So the next value will be 0 DD, the next value will be 0 DE. It keeps on counting something like this until FF is achieved. Whenever FF is achieved, your interrupt flag, the interrupt flag, that is TF0, will become 1. That means interrupt for timer 0 has been occurred. Now whenever the interrupt from timer 0 will occur, then the 8051 will start executing which program? The interrupt service routine corresponding to timer 0. Fine. It will check the interrupt vector table, and the interrupt service routine for that is written at this line. Fine. And what is that? Whenever an interrupt occur from timer 0, then please complement this pin. That means whatever is the value at pin P1.2, it will become, if it was 0, it will become 1. If it was 1, it will become 0. That's it. Fine. Since the value has been complemented, now again you have to load the values in the timer. This was not done in the last example. Why? Because in the last example the timer was operated in mode 2, where it is automatically reloaded. Fine. Did you remember in my last video lecture when I was teaching the timer in the mode 2, the timer, the TL0 is automatically reloaded. You need not to supply the value. But in case when you are using it in as mode 1, you have to load the value again. So once your counting is over, then you have to load the value to the timer again. Fine. And then you write RETI. What does it mean? It means return from the interrupt. Now your work is over. From P1.2 you have generated a square wave, then you return to your main program. What is the main program? Main program is this one. From where you have left, you are left from this line, so it will again come to this line and it will start executing this line until the counting has again been completed. Fine. During that time, just a second, during that time, whatever is the value at P1.2, it will remain there. If it was 0, it will remain 0. If it was 1, it will remain 1. Fine. And then again interrupt is generated, so again it will complement it, it will become 0. Again interrupt is generated after some time, so it will become 1. This is how square wave is generated. Fine. I think as of now this is very clear to you. Now we have studied how to use the interrupt of timer. Now we will study how to use the interrupt which are external to 8051. There are two interrupts which are external to 8051. Those are namely INT0 and INT1. These are what? These are pins. Which pin? Pin of port 3. Which pins of port 3? Pin number 2 and pin number 3. These are pin number 2 and pin number 3 of port 3, which are used to get the interrupt from external hardware. And that means whenever 8051 is executing some program, an external hardware can send a signal through this pin to tell 8051 that I need to interrupt your work, I need your attention, I need the attention of 8051. Fine. So let's see how it works. The names are INT0 and INT1, where they are at the pin number 2 of port 3 and pin number 3 of port 3. But port 3 is used as an input output port. Then why it is INT0 and INT1? Because port 3 serves for two purposes. It is also used for getting data from the device to the 8051 and from taking the data out of 8051, and also it is used for these purpose. Fine. I have already told you when I was explaining the pin diagram of 8051. Fine. And how to know whether the value which is coming out from port 3, if the value which is at the port 3, either they are interrupt or they are input output values. How to know this? To understand this, in some register a bit is set that says that either the value from port 3 is an input output value or it is an interrupt value. Fine. We will see this in today's video lecture, that which register needs to be checked. Fine. First we will see how many types of external hardware there are two types of external hardware interrupt. They are level triggered and edge triggered. What does it mean? What happens when an interrupt comes from outside into the pin 2 of port 3 or pin 3 of port 3? It can be either something, a signal which is it can be a signal something like this. What is this? Value 0 and then value 1 for a longer time and then value 0. It can be a signal something like this, or it can be a signal something like this. It can be a signal something like this, that initially into the port pin this, initially it is 0, and whenever it became 1, please listen it carefully, whenever it became 1, that is, there is a transition from 0 to 1, an interrupt is generated. Fine. So based on the type of signal which is coming into the pin number 2 or pin number 3 of port 3, that is interrupt pin, what is the what type of signal which is coming to this, it decides what type of external interrupt it is. It can be a level triggered. Level triggered means it can be, if we are trying to sense level means, for example, if we are sensing one level means if it should be 1 for some time, then only it will sense that interrupt has occurred. Fine. And if we are taking it as edge interrupt, edge means if it was 1, there should be a change either from 1 to 0 or from 0 to 1. So it will check whether there is a change in level or whether there is a particular level maintained for same time. Fine. If a particular level is maintained for some time, then it is level triggered interrupt. And if we are sensing this edges, if we are sensing these edges, then that is edge triggered interrupt. Fine. And how to configure these interrupt, we'll see. Fine. So as of now, these interrupt 0 and interrupt 1 can be of two types, level and edge triggered. Fine. So let's see. So where these interrupts are on the pin number 2 of port 3 or pin number 3 of port 3, named as 3.2 and 3.3. Fine. The names are interrupt 0 and interrupt 1. They can be either level triggered or edge triggered. Fine. I have already told you what is level triggered and what is edge triggered. They can be level triggered or edge triggered. When they are level triggered, it will be a particular interrupt service routine corresponding to this interrupt will be executed. Simple. But if it is edge triggered, then a particular bit in the TCON register, I have already taught you the TCON register. We'll again see what is TCON register. So a particular bit in the TCON register will be checked whether that bit is set or not. If that bit is set, then only this interrupt will be serviced. Do you understand? I'll again explain it to you. Whenever an interrupt comes to the pin number 3 of port 3, that means an interrupt 1 is generated. Now whenever it is level triggered, the particular interrupt service routine will be executed. If it is edge triggered, then this bit of TCON register will be checked. If it is 1, then it will be serviced. If it is 0, it won't be serviced. Fine. So the TCON register plays an important role here. We have already studied TCON register. Where we have studied in the when we were studying the timer. Fine. We were studying the timer on I think 345 page. Let's see. Yes, this is the TCON register. We have already studied these 4 bits. These 4 bits are used to store the status of timers. And what are these 4 bits? We have left those 4 bits when we were studying the timer. These 4 bits are used for this interrupt. Fine. This is IT0, IE0, IT1 and IE1. So what it is used for? IT0 and IT1. When they are 0, that means it is level triggered. What? timers the interrupt 0 is level triggered, and when it is 1, that means the interrupt 0, the int 0, is age triggered. So the value of this bit will define whether it's age triggered or whether it's a level triggered interrupt. Fine. So let us go back again to our slide. Yes, so where we are, level triggered or age triggered. Fine. Yeah, so in the level triggered mode, interrupt 0 and interrupt 1 pins are normally high. So what happens, how this interrupt occurs? See, in the port 3, the pin number 2 and pin number 3 of port 3, what happens, normally the input to these lines are always high, they are always logic 1. Fine. And whenever an interrupt has to be made onto this pin, what will happen, it will become 0. This signal will become 0 for some time. Fine. This signal will become 0 for some time, and then 8051 will understand that interrupt has been occurred at this pin. Or if this becomes 0 for some time, then 805 will understand that interrupt has been occurred on this point. Fine. So who will make it 0? The device which is connected to this pin. If it wanted to interrupt the 8051, it will make this line as 0, and normally this line is always logic 1. Please remember this. Fine. So what is, I'll again explain what is level and age triggering. What happens, it is normally 1. Please listen it carefully. It is normally 1. It is normally as logic 1. Now if you wanted to sense, if your 8051 wanted to sense that this logic 1 became 0, if it only wanted to sense this age and service the interrupt, then it would be age type. The user can control this, or user can configure 8051 as age type triggered. Or if it wanted to sense that there should be 0 for some time, for some duration, then only interrupt will occur. Then the user can configure 8051 interrupt as level type. Fine. So it depends upon the user whether it wanted to configure it as a level type or age type. Fine. So we'll do one more example also, so that you can understand what is level type and age type more clearly. Fine. So the level or age level, and then see this example. Directly we'll see the example and we'll able to understand, because it's very easy. This is a very good example. It could be asked in your questions also. What it is saying that assume that the interrupt 1 pin is connected to a switch. This is a switch. I'll explain how this switch is working. Whenever this switch goes low, whenever this switch goes low, that is whenever this switch is pressed, it should turn on LED for some time, only for some time. Otherwise the LED is normally off. Fine. The LED is normally off whenever this switch is pressed. That means interrupt occurs. What type of interrupt? Interrupt 1 will occur. Then the LED should glow for some time. Fine. And whenever the switch becomes off, the LED will become off. So this is very easy program. But how to do it? Instead of studying this, we'll just see the algorithm, that how to write such a kind of program. What we have to do, first we have to enable the interrupt, this kind of interrupt. Fine. Then what we have to do, then we have to sense whether this switch is become on or not. First we'll study how this switch works. This is supply, supply voltage 1 volt. This feeds through this resistor to this interrupt. So normally the value to this interrupt is high, that means the interrupt is not enabled, the interrupt will not occur. Interrupt will occur only when the when it sends 0. Fine, it sends 0 for some time. Please listen, it sends 0 for some time. So how to use this switch? This switch is connected to this 1. Fine, so interrupt does not occur. So whenever you move this switch to this place, this is what? Ground. Ground means 0. So 0 is fed into this interrupt. So whenever your switch will move this side, then 0 will go into the interrupt. That means interrupt 1 will occur. And whenever interrupt 1 will occur, then after interrupt occurs, what happens? The 8051 switches to a particular service routine, interrupt service routine. And what would be the code in that interrupt service routine? The code in that interrupt service routine would be something like something that will make this LED to glow. And how to glow the LED? Just move the value 1 to LED. So just move the value 1 to P1.3. So this is the task. So first we will do what? We will write a main program in which we will, what we will do in the main program? We'll do nothing. We will remain on a single line. Fine, and we will keep on waiting whether the interrupt has been occurred or not. Once the interrupt occur, then we will write an interrupt service routine. Fine, so let's see how we'll write this program. First read the main program, that is important. So in the main program, we start the main program at 30H. It depends upon you, you can start writing at any line. It should be greater than 23H. Please remember this. So you have written your program from 30H. What you have written? First you have enabled the interrupt. This is the first thing. You have to enable the interrupt INT1. Everything is written here. These are comments. You can read these also. Then what I said? You should remain on a single line and wait until, wait for what? Wait until this switch becomes on. Whenever this switch, when this switch becomes on, when it is connected to ground, that means this becomes 0. Whenever it becomes 0, the interrupt has occurred, and whenever the interrupt occurs, the 8051 will leave this line. It will leave this line and it will jump to the ISR corresponding to interrupt 1. And what is the ISR corresponding to interrupt 1? For that, what will happen? The 8051 will check the interrupt vector table. Where is our interrupt vector table? It will check the interrupt vector table, that what is the ISR address corresponding to interrupt 1. What is the ISR address corresponding to interrupt 1? It is 0013. So we will deliberately write our code at 0013, so that whenever interrupt occurs, it will start executing at 0013. So what is at 0013? Yeah, so we will start writing our interrupt service routine at 0013. What we will do? Simply we have to turn the LED on, or the buzzer, or whatever it is. How to turn it on? Make this value 1. How to make it value 1? Just set the bit, set bit 1.3, and moving the value 1 doesn't mean that it will blink. This 1 should remain here for some time. Fine. So how to be there for some time? You have to use a loop. Fine. So you use a resistor R3, move a value to it, and then decrement that value and remain here until this value of the resistor becomes 0. That means you remain here at some time and P1 remains high. That means LED keeps on glowing. Once you come out of this loop, clear that pin. Clear that pins means the LED will become off, and you return to the main program. RETI, that means you return to the main program. Where is the main program? You will again come back here and you will wait for the interrupt to again occur. Whenever the interrupt occur, it will go to this line, it will go to this line, and it will again turn on the LED. So it's a very easy program, easy and important program. Fine. So let us move forward. Now the pin number 2 and pin number 3, what I was telling you, that the pin port 3 is normally used as input output port. That means it is used to get input data and take the data out of 8051, but sometimes it is used for other purpose also, like for interrupt. How to 8051 decide that whether the port 3 should be used for input output or for special functions? For that we have interrupt enable resistor. Fine, we have interrupt enable resistor. We have already studied the interrupt enable resistor. The value of the interrupt enable resistor corresponding to INT 0 and INT 1 should be 1. For example, this one, the interrupt external interrupt 0 and interrupt 1. This is what? This is interrupt enable resistor. This bit should be 1 if we wanted to use the port 3 for interrupt purpose. If we wanted to use the port 3 just for input output, then these bits should be 0. Fine. So by default your port 3 is used for input output only. If you wanted to use for interrupt purpose or the timer purpose also, then this bit should be 1. Fine. I think now it is clear to you that how to enable the interrupt. Fine. So now if you are using it as these interrupts, the INT 0 and INT 1, if you are using them as label triggered. Label means you are checking whether a label 0, because it is already 1. Fine. If you are checking whether the 0 remains there for some time, if you are using it as label triggered, then this 0 should remain for some time. How much time? For 8051 it is fixed. It is fixed for 4 machine cycles, and each machine cycle is of 1.085 microsecond. This value I have already referred in many of my video lectures. Fine. So 4 machine cycle, it should remain low. It should remain to 0 for at least 4 machine cycle to be referred to as an interrupt. For example, this signal is connected to, let's say for we are taking interrupt 0, so this signal is connected to this pin, because corresponding to interrupt 0 the pin is P3.2. so this signal is connected here. This is by default, this is high, but a device which is connected to this pin made this signal as 0, but 8051 will not consider it as interrupt until it will remain 0 for at least 4 machine cycle. Fine. So if it remains 0 for 4 machine cycle, then 8051 knows that interrupt 0 has occurred, and whatever interrupt service routine need to be done, it will do. Fine. So this is how level type interrupt occurs. Fine. I'll and one more thing, that how to configure these interrupts as level type or edge type. For that you use the TCON resistor. I have already told you this. For that you use TCON resistor. What bits of TCON resistor? These 2 bits of TCON resistor. Fine. That means if these bits are 1, I'll again read for you. If these bits these bits, they are set for edge triggering. That means if these bits, which bits? These bits. If this bit is 1, that means your interrupt 0 and interrupt 1 are edge triggered. Fine. And if they are 0, that means your interrupt 1 and interrupt 0 are level triggered. Fine. Level triggered means it will sense level. It will sense level that it should be 0 for 4 machine cycles, at least for 4 machine cycle. And if it is edge triggered means it will just sense the change from 1 to 0. If it is a change, then the interrupt will start here itself instead of checking for 4 machine cycles. This is the difference between level and edge. Fine. And how to enable and disable the age and level triggering? By using the TCON resistor. These bits of TCON resistor, if you make 1, it is age triggering, and if you make these bits at 0, it would be level triggering. That's it. Fine. And see this also, these 2 bits, this also corresponds to the interrupts. These 2 bits holds the data that which interrupt is being serviced. For example, if interrupt 0 occurs, then this bit will become automatically 1, and whenever the interrupt 0 ISR is finished, this bit will automatically will become 1. So this bit is kind of a flag which shows that whether INT 0 is serviced or whether INT 1 is serviced. For example, an interrupt 1 occurs. Fine, interrupt 1 occurs, then what will happen? The ISR corresponding to INT 1 will be executed. Then during that time, this bit will remain 1. By checking this bit, a user can know that interrupt 1 is being serviced or not. Fine. Once the interrupt service routine corresponding to this interrupt will finished, then this bit will become 0. That's it. Fine. This is how the TCON register is used. Fine. This is a similar example. You should read this example, and this is used for falling age. This example is used for falling age of external interrupt. So what you have to do? You have to make the TCON register. You have to adjust the value of TCON register. And which bit of TCON register? If it is using for interrupt 1, then which bit? It would be this bit. Which is this? 0, 1, 2. Second bit of TCON register has to be made 2. So see, the second bit of TCON register is set. Why it is set? It is set because it has been asked in the question. It has been said in the question that you have to use what? Age type of triggering. So you have to enable the age triggering here. And to enable the age triggering, what you have done? You have just added one more line. All these lines are similar to previous examples, but here you have just added one more line to make it age triggering, because by default your interrupt 0 and interrupt 1, they are what? They are level triggered. To make them age triggered, you have to write value 1 to which register? TCON register. And which bit? Bit number 0 and bit number 0. Bit number 0 and bit number 2. Bit number 0 corresponding to interrupt 0 and bit number 2 corresponding to interrupt 1. This you have to remember. Fine. And that's it. Apart from this, there's one more thing, that if it is age triggered, then since it is normally 1, what is this? This is the interrupt 0 or interrupt 1 signal. It is normally 1. Whenever it becomes 0, interrupt occurs. So for age triggering, it should not be something like this. It is 1, then it becomes 0, then it became 1. This is not level triggering. This is not age triggering. Age triggering should be something like this. The 8051 will sense age triggering only when it became 0 for at least one machine cycle, and 8051 will sense level triggering when it became 0 for at least 4 machine cycle. This you have to remember. Fine, just for theory purpose. And that's it. This is for different thing. We'll not study these things. Fine. So we have covered everything about the interrupts. This is for this portion is for serial communication, and since we have not covered the serial communication, so we will also not cover the interrupt part for serial communication. Fine. So we have covered all the interrupts, starting from the timer interrupt, reset interrupt, and the external hardware interrupt. Fine. So I end my video lecture here itself, and I suggest all the students to go through all these programs which I have covered in my video lecture. I'll share this PPT to you so that you cover these topics before your mid semesters. and the third unit has now been completed, so you can start study for your mid semesters exams. That's it.